Nancy Pelosi became infamous for trash-talking Donald Trump's tax cuts. You may remember her referring to the benefits that regular people got as crumbs. I mean, she's pretty well known for that at this point. Now the tax cuts have actually become fairly popular. They're selling themselves. People are actually seeing the benefits in their paychecks. Instead of embracing those tax cuts and saying, well, actually they did turn out to be good for regular Americans. No, instead, Nancy Pelosi is doubling down and promising that if the Democrats win in the midterm elections, they'll be repealing those tax cuts. You couldn't even make it up that this is what they're going to run on now. She justifies it by saying that these tax cuts, they mostly applied to the upper class. Well, really, all tax cuts do, because at the end of the day, those who make more money give more money in taxes. And that's what tax cuts are. They allow people to keep more of their own money. You have to realize, 45% of Americans don't pay any federal income tax. So they don't get a tax cut because they weren't paying any in the first place. This isn't welfare, which is what Nancy Pelosi and her Democrat buddies like to confuse. You know, welfare with tax cuts. They're not the same thing. When we're talking about tax cuts, people are able to keep more of their own money, money that they earned. And regular people are better able to make decisions about where they spend their own money when it comes to healthcare or anything else. I mean, you know what your family needs. Now, for contrast to her, I want to show you a woman who was affected positively by the tax cuts and really represents millions of Americans. Take a look at this clip.
Mr. President, my name is Bonnie Brazil, and I work in the cafeteria at College of the Ozarks alongside the hardworking students. And I am very grateful for the bonus when the college gave it to us. And I put mine in savings for my retirement. And I want to thank you, Mr. President, and God bless you.
That's very nice. Thank you very much. That's very nice. Thank you both. That's beautiful.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
So now you've seen it. And like I said, I think this woman represents so many different Americans to whom these tax cuts made a major difference. And don't forget, it wasn't just the tax cuts. What Donald Trump and the GOP Congress were also able to do was repeal the individual mandate, the part of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, that required people to pay a fine for being too poor to afford insurance. That monstrosity was also repealed, and that wasn't small. That was, I think, over $600 per person. So when you've got somebody who a $1,000 bonus is a major life-changing event, yeah, so's a $600 fine. They called it a tax so they could justify it legally, but it was a fine. Fine for not being able to buy insurance. I just can't get over just how evil that system is. But this is something that the Democrats are actually going to run on. If you notice, they're going to run, seriously, on repealing the tax cuts and repealing the Second Amendment. Oh, don't forget the First Amendment too, because they're not really into free speech anymore. They want to get rid of that hate speech. But really, these are hugely unpopular issues. If the Democrats win in the midterms, it's just because people didn't show up to vote. Because they're running on these hugely unpopular ideas. And they're so out of touch. You've got people like Nancy and like Bernie Sanders who live inside of mansions tell us that $1,000 means nothing. How is it that Donald Trump, who's a billionaire, is more in tune with the American people than they are? Than those people who supposedly know all about the little people and want to help the little guy? I don't even know. Okay. Now, I want to talk about California. It's become the butt of many jokes, and it kind of symbolizes the way that America is going if, you know, we don't save it. Like, if Hillary Clinton had been elected, that would have been like the future of America. Of course, that's not to say that all Californians are bad. There were 4.5 million Californians who voted for Donald Trump. You wouldn't think that. If you look at the policies that are in place in California, you certainly wouldn't think that, but there are a lot of good people there. They're just outnumbered and not loud enough. There are several counties and cities who are now fighting back against the sanctuary state status of California. And I want to talk about the sanctuary status because this term has been used for two different things over the past 20 to even 30 years. The first one, and you may not agree with either, but it's important that we distinguish these terms because the leftists have tried to merge them both together because one, a lot of conservatives were sympathetic to, and the other one they weren't. Alright, so the old-fashioned version of a sanctuary city was when, say, an illegal immigrant has witnessed a crime or been a victim of a crime, and he goes to the police and says, "Can you help me?" In that instance, the police would say, "Yes, we'll help you," and "No, we won't turn you in. We'll just, you're innocent, so we'll just look the other way as far as your immigration status is concerned." Okay? You may not think that's right, but that's what that was. The new sanctuary status is the illegal immigrant commits a crime, right? After, passing the border, he commits a crime, maybe it's a violent crime, and then the police still don't turn him over. They don't contact ICE, they actually put this criminal back on the streets. That's the new sanctuary city, or in this case, sanctuary state policy. The sanctuary state policy in California of they're actually forbidding the different counties and sheriff's departments and police departments from telling ICE when they're releasing these immigrants who've committed, in some cases, heinous crimes. But there are these lots of different cities and counties that don't want to be a part of this. They pretend like it's a states' rights issue. And this I find unbelievable, because California and these leftists do not care about states' rights. They do not care about the 10th Amendment. They never have. What if Texas wanted to, legalize automatic firearms? Would that be a states' rights issue? I don't think so. What about if any state wanted to ban abortion completely? Would that be a states' rights issue? How about when North Carolina, or the people of North Carolina, decided that in government buildings, a man's bathroom should be for men, and a women's bathroom should be for women, actual women. Remember that? Well, the people of California, the leftists there, nope, that wasn't okay. That wasn't a states' rights issue. To these people, they don't care about states' rights at all. They want an all-encompassing, all-powerful federal government. They just want it to be a federal government that is on the same page ideologically with them. But I just find it so ironic that they talk about how important states' rights are. And, talking of all-powerful governments, China, the communist state, has recently decided that in retribution to our tariffs, they're going to place tariffs on food. And I can't think of anything that indicates a communist power quite like we're going to starve our own people to prove some kind of a point. Because if you look back throughout history, starving their people is just kind of this theme. Yeah. Alright. Now, on a more serious note, I need to discuss the fact that the FBI has been paying informants at the Geek Squad. Now, the Geek Squad, for those who don't know, is a part of the Best Buy company. If you take your computer into Best Buy, the Geek Squad will fix it if it has a problem. That's the idea. Well, the FBI has been paying them for child pornography. If they find child pornography on a computer, they call the FBI and they get money. They're actually monetarily reimbursed. Now, I get it. Nobody wants to defend pedophiles or those who look at child pornography, any of that. I understand. But it always starts with, whenever anyone wants to take away your rights, it's always, well, think about the children. That's always what they reach to. Okay? And this is a huge violation of people's privacy. You see, not only do we have these employees who just happen to see somebody's child pornography, on the desktop background. No, we actually have an incentivized snooping operation, an incentivized search that has, without any probable cause, the person just has a bad computer. Not only that, but it actually potentially incentivizes the person to place the child pornography on there. Remember, there's a monetary incentive that they could set somebody up. So it's very wrong. And like I said, whenever you're talking about whether it's the Fourth Amendment and privacy or the Second Amendment and the gun rights, it's always, we've got to save the children first. But our rights are important. And I've said this over and over again, but this is what makes America different, is this concept of inalienable rights. It is what makes it so incredibly different. So we have to protect those at all costs. And this is a huge violation. Remember, this is the FBI not just saying, if you happen to see something that's illegal, call us. No, they're actually giving money if these private citizens, find something on the person's computer. That's wrong. And in at least one case, it's already been thrown out of court because this amounts to an illegal search. And that's a good thing. People should be aware and be willing to fight for this, even when, it's hard to defend. Because, again, we've got children involved, and no one wants to see children hurt. Nobody likes pedophiles. Again, I get it. But we have to defend it, because our rights are important. They get stripped away bit by bit, in cases just like this one. Finally, Susan Rice, who some may remember, during the Obama administration, she was the UN ambassador and national security advisor. She's now on the Netflix board, the board of directors. So you can expect, if you're a Netflix subscriber, you can kind of expect a downward direction of their content, shall we say. You can expect more libtard content. I don't know what to call it. I actually dropped my own Netflix subscription years ago because essentially they're already doing that. I couldn't seem to get rid of this gay and lesbian section that they just kept kind of trying to force in my face. It's one thing if I'm watching a movie and there was a character there who just happens to be gay, whatever. It's another thing if, I'm watching Brokeback Mountain. I mean, the two things, they're totally different. And really they kept pushing more of an agenda over time. So again, I left years ago. But those who are Netflix subscribers now will probably expect a change in their content over time. And also, they've already got a lineup for a potential TV show with Barack Obama. So good luck with that. Enjoy. Alright. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. Also hit the bell, otherwise YouTube won't actually notify you when you subscribe, because a subscribe is no longer a subscribe. I've also placed a link in the description below and other ways that you can subscribe, because, well, these technology companies, they always seem to have technical issues that only affect conservatives. You know how it is. If you could also share this with your friends, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Health-wise.